Welcome to Life Happens, where Texans come to protect their legacy and prepare for the second half of life. Join your host, attorney Kim Hegwood with Hegwood Law Group, and our weekly guest as we navigate the challenges that emerge as life happens. Now here's your host, Kim Hegwood.
Good morning and welcome to Life Happens with me, Kim Hegwood, and our very special guest today is Paloma Ladejobi. Oh, no, I knew I was going to mess that up. Paloma, tell us how to pronounce your last name.
Yes, Ladejobi.
There you go. I apologize.
No worries.
I had it out phonetically and then I just messed it up.
But
we are so excited to have you on the show today because you've got a really good job. And so dancing with seniors. And so the name of your company is Dance Active, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so I guess probably some of the things we probably, we're going to talk about, but you teach dance classes for seniors, usually people have Parkinson's or dementia.
Correct.
How do you get them to dance?
Oh, wow. That was like a very, very super long journey. It started when I was 5 years old, thanks to my parents that they were very into right after school, you need to be in some extracurricular activities. I don't want you to be watching TV and being at home doing nothing. So my mom was like, don't you just try dance? And I was like, okay. 5 years old, I was saying yes to everything. So I tried jazz, I tried tap, and I tried ballet as the formation. And I loved it. So at the time I was 8 years old, I was in the advanced group with teenagers, pretty much 18 years old, 15 years old, and I was 8. And I remember that, some of them, they will be like, oh, you're so cute. How old are you? I'm like 8. Oh my God, really? So it was so easy for me to catch up every movement and the synchronicity and everything. So I was like, yeah, it seems like this is for me. When I, turn into adulthood, I have a BA in dance. I from in Mexico because I'm born and raised in Mexico, and I immersed into that professionally at the age of 18. And when I finished my degree, I started my journey and just dancing, touring with companies from New York, Canada, Cuba. So I would just be in different companies. And at the age of, I think it was 21, 22, I discovered dance for PD, Parkinson's disease method in Brooklyn, New York. And I fell in love with the program with all of my heart. And I said, this is what I really want to do for the rest of my life. And I was still in here and there. I wasn't very stable in one city. So I really wanted to, put my heart into that specific program. And when I moved to Houston, it's been 2 years. I've moved to Houston, and I said, this is the time for me to start creating a program specifically for seniors. And it's been, pretty much almost a year and a half. I'm teaching in almost 8 different assisted living facilities and memory care in Houston and the suburbs. And it's just an amazing program. It's such a rewarding program, such a joyful program. It completes you, not just the instructor, but the participants that are taking the class. They're just like, this is great. I didn't know I was able to, make these moves in my body.
So, I was super excited when I knew you were going to be on the show because I kept thinking, a lot of people still love to dance.
Yeah.
It's just something that doesn't really kind of change with age. And so, do you have people kind of say, I don't have any rhythm, I'm not sure I can do this. Do you get some of that, or do you get people that are more like, oh, I love to dance and I should do this?
I get a little bit of everything. And some of them, they don't really say anything until the end of the class. They're more like, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch you dancing or moving. And then, we'll see. But then at the end, mid-class or towards the end of classes, they're really engaging and they want to move, or of course at their own way and limitations, but they ended up joining the classes. That's something that I've seen everywhere. Sometimes they get up, they just come in and they're like, no, I don't think it's for me. Like they hear the word dancing and it's like, no, this is not for me. But they hear the music, the combination of music and movement and the styles, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this is fun. So yeah, I get a little bit of everything.
So how do you feel that dance can help seniors in assisted living or memory care?
I feel like it really does make a difference, especially, for example, with Parkinson's people. I feel like before they enter to the class, you start seeing some of the symptoms, tremors and like very curving spine and very like pretty like low, the like energy super low. And then as soon as they, sit down and see their surroundings and more people joining the classes, they feel a little bit more engaged. But also at some point in class, it's so beautiful to see that they're able to find their coordination, to find their oppositions, to find the rhythm, to find a little bit bigger movements, because they're used to like do small steps or small movements, and they're able to feel and see that they're able to expand their movements wider, and that's beautiful to see. For dementia, for example, is really helps them to. The music plays a very, very like it's a great combination between movement and music. So for example, I'm playing Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra, they automatically the memories comes back, right? The memories come back and there's like, oh my God, like this is great. Yes. And they start singing it and they start remembering the lyrics. And sometimes even they're just waltzing, or they're just like, even though they are into their own space, they are there. So it really, really helps dramatically. They also reduce anxiety. It boosts confidence, dancing. It helps with the cognitive skills and the mobility. Like it really does play like a dramatic, impact in their lives, dancing.
So do you have classes that are taught for people who, can't stand, that are maybe in a seated position that can still participate?
So most of my classes are seated because we just want to keep the environment safe. Sometimes I don't have nurses or caregivers, in classes. And so I feel like it's better for me to just keep the class in a seated way. But also, I mean, if there's a participant, I can see that her mobility is a little bit better, then I say, yeah, feel free to just stand up, hold on into a chair, and then do the movements. But yeah, I just for safety, situations, I keep my classes in a seated way.
So can you tell our listeners maybe a story or two about how dance class has benefited them since you started this program?
Yeah, I feel like there are no like stories. I would say more like a feedback, like a great feedback. Like sometimes they come to me at the end of the class and they say, I didn't know I was able to move this way. Or when I play some of the 60s melodies or songs, they're like, oh, you brought me back to when I was 20. I didn't know I was able to waltz once again. I didn't know that my legs could move this way. So it's a very, like I mentioned earlier, it's a very rewarded program. It keeps the seniors connected, engaging in a way. Sometimes it's not just like dancing and like follow the movements. Sometimes I like to play interaction between each other. I like to improvise with them. I like to mirror with them certain movements that it's not just for them to see me dancing, but also to engage and to create a little bit a program more playful and fun at the same time.
So you said earlier, I think if I recall, that you saw this in Brooklyn, because this seems like something that would have been out of the norm. You being in a in a, what do you call it? In a group. So like if you were doing ballet or something in a, how did you come about finding this particular study?
Yeah, this is so interesting. So I remember that I was in Mexico visiting my family, and my father, his background, he's a neurologist. So there was a little bit of a connection already. And then he mentioned me about programs. Like he didn't mention per se dance for PD, but he said like there must be programs out there that involves dancing and with neurological disorders. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like you should just check it out, go online and see what you find. And that really brought my attention. So I said, okay, let me just find out. And right away, as soon as I Googled it, I found out the Dance for PD program in Brooklyn. And this program started in early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. And they've been doing this program since like almost 20, 22, 23 years. And it started in a small place, actually started at the Mark Morris Dance Center. And, as a trial, let's see if this works. Let's see if participants, show up and they kind of like, they like it. And now the Dance for PD network, it's all over the world. There are programs in Canada, here with the Houston Ballet, and it's a wrap, right? Nationwide and worldwide. And when I discovered the program, I started with my introductory workshop, and then you go from there, right? So during that, the program, it was just like a weekend, kind of like intensive workshop. And then I moved to Canada, and that's when I immersed into the program a little bit more in Canada. With the nonprofit organization Dancing with Parkinson's Canada. And I started as a volunteer for a year, and then I transitioned to a dance teacher. And until this day, I, keep teaching, keep providing these classes online for Canadian seniors. And then I said, well, of course, I want to do this here in Houston on my own, since there are no programs in assisted and memory care facilities. I want to bring this program, instead of the seniors come to me, I want to come to them, since it's better, easier, and faster. And it has been working so well. Like the demand is there, and I feel like we need more programs like this.
Yes, that we do. And so I think every possibility that you can give, a senior, your loved one, to enhance their quality of life, to make them feel better, to give them good memories, refresh those memories that were so good for them, is always a positive thing. So, because we preach quality of life in my office, we want to do everything we can to enhance quality of life. And so super excited. So if someone wants to find you, whether they want to go online and see what you do, or better yet, there's a facility watching, because we have a lot of people that follow us that work in different facilities. How do they find you?
Yes, so you can find me, directly on my phone. Call me at 347-574-3857. If I'm not picking up, that's because I'm teaching and dancing. But please leave a text message, and yes, that's the fastest way. Or also you can leave an email at Paloma, my first name, at danceactive with Z, .co. So I'm going to spell the danceactive. It's D as Daniel, ANZACTIVE.co. And also I have my website, danceactive.co. I have a small, even though I am in process of, really fixing my website and all that, it's in process. There is a small, like a box with the information about this program, Dancing with Seniors or Dancing with Paloma. Yes, in assisted living and memory care facilities.
Perfect. And so thanks so much for being on the show and giving us this good information, because I look forward to helping you spread the word.
Thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate this.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Life Happens with Kim Hegwood. Be sure to tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. wherever you listen to your podcast as we navigate through the challenges that emerge as life happens. The content of this podcast does not establish an attorney-client relationship or constitute attorney-client privilege, legal, medical, financial, or any other professional advice.